roll off.
Roll off.
Oh, I rolled a 2, you rolled a 5.
Yeah. So I will be the attacker. And I will do the intro. So, welcome to Tip of the Spear episode 27. And this week we have got the Soulblight Gravelords, the Bloodcrave Hunt, the original one. But before we get into that, how has your Age of Sigmar week been, Duncan?
We have had a very busy week because basically you have had a week off work.
Yep.
So we have been doing a lot of moving things around in your garage, and you probably won't see this for maybe a couple of weeks while things are edited and then put out, but our whole setup has now changed, hopefully for the better, which has been a lot of the work we've been doing.
Yeah, we've got new lighting, we've got a studio audience now. We're just not very funny though, so they don't do much laughing and clapping. It was a big waste of money, that. I don't know why we did that. Most importantly, we've changed sides.
We have, for now. Yep.
For now.
Yep, I can't say whether we're going to change back and the dice tray might move back to where it was. But for now, you're right, we have changed sides and...
just had a bit of a shuffle of the shelves, just to mean that I actually have something in the background for me now, and it's not just a black wall.
And ideally we've got a bit more space. Got a bit more space around us as well.
And I now ride a motorbike, apparently.
So that's kind of the bits that I've been doing. We've also obviously done a fair bit of filming as well, a few battle reports. We have, in the past week, brought and made both of the...
Daughters and Sylvaneth.
Which, Sylvaneth, not the nicest thing to make, but actually not bad.
Oh.
Daughters of Cain is probably the worst spearhead I have ever made in my life. The cauldron is awful.
Yeah. But, I mean, even the first game we use it, I broke it because it was just so fiddly.
Even the Warcry unit were like a pain to put their capes together. The
They
only unit that were nice were the Sisters of Slaughter. They fit in quite well. And actually the heroes don't... I know Medusa was horrible.
But then also the Sisters have the awkward thing of like, they're really tall and thin, and we kept getting them like stuck on things. It was so awkward.
So when we do a review of that Spearhead, it's going to be a really horrible one, because when we do aesthetics painting, I'm going to be like, well, I want to give this a really 0 out of 5 because it was awful to put together. But it's a really nice looking Spearhead. Yeah. I want to give it a really good score. So I don't know how that's going to... Maybe long enough time has passed and I won't remember the pain of putting them together. But that has been my week of Age of Sigmar.
Yeah. My week has been me getting battered in the main game. I've just been losing.
I don't know whether to laugh or cry, because you generally beat me in the main game. So if you're getting battered, that really bodes badly for me. But I also think sometimes, Robin, you need to be knocked off your pedestal.
Yeah.
Not long ago you were going, I've not lost a main game all year.
No, I haven't.
And then now in the past month you've lost like 3?
3 or 4.
Yeah.
I've lost 2 to you. I've lost 5. You know what? I don't think I've won 1. I think I've lost my last 5 main games.
I think you've only lost 1 to me. I think we drew 1.
But yeah, basically it's not been going very well for me. So I'm changing my list again, ready for the tournament that we've got. Because we also booked a second tournament.
We're going to be doing the Honest Wargamers tournament, 2-day tournament in May, like 2 weeks before we do...
Grand tournament in Birmingham.
Warhammer Open in Birmingham. Yeah. So that will be probably go in, play a few different armies, find out our lists are terrible, and have 2 weeks to try and come up with something better.
Scramble for 2 weeks.
Is my prediction. Or, what's probably going to happen is, one of us is going to do alright, one of us is going to do terrible. The one who does terrible then changes the list. The one who does alright doesn't, and then the one who did alright does terrible at the Open.
Yeah,
that's my prediction. So your game you played against Maggotkin of Nurgle?
Yeah. Too tanky and they do a lot of disease. Don't like it.
Says the guy who's got like half his army's got like a 2-up save.
No. I'm going back to half my army having a 2-up save. But yeah, no wards though. That's the problem. But moving on to this Spearhead, this Soulblight Gravelords Bloodcrave Hunt. You've got 5 units in this Spearhead. You've got your general, the Vampire Lord. Probably one of the better generals in the game.
Yep.
You get 2 2 units of 10 Death Rattle Skeletons. You get 1 unit of the 5 Blood Knights, so the cavalry, and then you get 1 unit of 3 Vargheists, the big vampire guys, the ones that are also technically in the Flesh Eaters. I think the Flesh Eater ones are slightly better. So yeah, a good nice little mix there.
This was the first army that I played in Spearhead that had a cavalry unit. Because my first army, I mean, I suppose Nurgle do, but it's not like a cavalry unit. It's a cavalry model that goes around. So I had them, I had Fire Slayers, which obviously don't have any, and I had Cruel Boys, which don't have any. And I was like, I really want a really good cavalry unit that I'm going to charge it up the board and do lots of damage. And this was the first army that I had that did that. The first game I played, I think I just charged the Knights up, did a tiny bit, but not as much as I was expecting to, and then they slowly just died. And I was like, maybe actually I need to not just go, I have cavalry, let's charge them up. I need to kind of think a little bit more. But I do think this army has a nice mix of your skeletons that can just sit on objectives and hold things up for a while, the cavalry unit that's going to charge in and hopefully do a bit of damage and heal a bit as well. As you said about the general being a really good general who can hit quite hard, and with healing, with a 3-up save, makes him pretty tanky. And then you've got your unit coming in later that at least means that it helps you from that third battle round somewhere that you need to be. So as a whole, I think it's a really good mix of units.
Yeah. Going to their battle traits then. So as we mentioned earlier, obviously they get the healing, so they get a passive. It's probably one of the better battle traits. Each time a friendly vampire unit, so your general, the Vargheists or the Knights, uses a fight ability, after all the attacks have been resolved, heal X that vampire unit, where X is the number of damage points allocated by those attacks. So essentially, you've got a unit that's got 2 damage on it. You do 5 damage to your opponent. You heal those 2 after the fight. Now again, you pointed out, I think in a game we had once, kind of sucks a little bit when you go first because you do the damage. If you don't necessarily kill them, they then hurt you. You don't get the benefit of that ability.
I do think in general, for a few different reasons, we'll maybe talk about this at the end when we've kind of gone through everything, that this is a rare Spearhead army that I do think benefits from going second instead of first. And one of the reasons is exactly what you just said, is you, in a weird way, you need to have been damaged to get any bonus from that ability. And so if you are the one going first, you're losing out on your battle trait ability, which is a shame.
I mean, to be fair, if you go in and just smash the opponent and go, wow, I don't need to heal, it's always a bonus.
That's the ideal, isn't it?
And then the other part of their battle trait is, in the third battle round, you get to set up the Vargheists anywhere in the battlefield 6 away. Which, like we said, it's a great one just to nab a back objective that's being left undefended, or, like you say, stick it next to a general that's squishy or weak or whatever. Or just, reinforce a unit that you're both going to go in. So you've got 2 things going in. They've also got brilliant movement as a unit. So like you say, if you do stick them on a back objective in the third battle round, it means that in the fourth, providing your opponent's not on the complete opposite side, they're probably going to get in and do something.
Yeah.
There would be good units to have at the start, actually, just have another really fast unit.
I think that would make the Spearhead too strong. If you had 2 good units that could equally move well and get into combat and do damage and heal, I do think there's a good reason that they come in the third battle round, but it's not one that hurts you too bad.
It's not like, say, if the Knights came in the third battle round, that would be pretty bad. It could be the thing that gets you to take without warning 3 of the long battlefield edge, holding enemy territory, not in combat.
So next to their regiment abilities, now the first one has taken a lot of changes over the time. The initial wording of the Endless Legions was, pick a friendly Death Rattle skeleton unit that has been destroyed. You can set up a replacement unit with D6 plus 4 models anywhere on the battlefield 6 away from all enemy units. So potentially when you had that ability, you could bring all 10 of them back if you rolled very well. The minimum you could bring back was 5. Now, it has changed to You can set up a replacement unit with D6 models in friendly territory more than 6 inches from all enemy units. So a few different changes there. So the lowest you could get is 1, the max you can get is 6, and it is not anywhere on the battlefield now. It's just in your territory. Because I would, which I suppose is maybe one of the reasons I've changed it, I would always pick that ability simply because a unit like that coming back and being placed anywhere, even if it doesn't do anything else all game, it's probably just been put on a back objective, and it's just scored me some points. Doesn't really matter. Obviously, 10 of them back is brilliant. Even just 5 of them back on an objective means that they've got to then go to you, kill you, take it back. So typically that is the one I would have chosen. I'm not sure if it would be anymore.
I mean, it's still not terrible. If you, like you say, if you got a 5 or a 6, bringing 5 or 6 back anywhere in your territories, you might be able to steal an objective back that an opponent's left. But if a unit dies early, you use that ability then, and you maybe only roll a 2 or a 3, that's not great.
Because that's what your skeletons are, your cannon fodder unit.
Yeah.
You definitely don't want them to die, but they have got a good chance of dying if that's what you're using them for. And it is a funny one. I always think about you when I think that this is a death army where they probably have one of the worst kind of coming back abilities because nothing is reinforced. That was basically your reinforce ability, and it is pretty bad. So it is a funny one where, compared to other armies where it's like, Courage on Overlords, basically everything's reinforced. This is a death army where nothing is.
Yeah. I mean, Bone Reapers give it a pretty good run for its money for the worst, but
true.
It's not a brilliant one. They obviously do have another way to bring models back that they can do that has also been nerfed twice. But we'll get onto that later.
So the other regiment ability, the one that I'm maybe more choosing now, is the Ruinous Chargers. Pick your Blood Knights unit to use this ability if it is used as a charge this turn. Inflict D3 mortal damage onto each enemy unit it passed across during the charge ability. As someone who does do Bone Reapers, that is actually harder than you expect it to be.
Yeah, you've got big bases at the end of the day. So you think of it this way. Your base is like 3 inches. Your opponent's going to potentially have 2-3 inches worth of models. You've got to be 3 away. So you're rolling a 9 to get over 1.
I mean, you don't have to get over, do you? You can kind of just go, and at a bit of an angle, and I kind of push it. But even when it says more than 1 unit, you're probably only doing it to 1 unit. You're going to be very lucky with a charge if you do
unless,
it
like you say, there's 2 units stood next to each other.
But the nice thing about the ability, it's just D3. It's not
bad D3.
D3 or on a certain thing. So that is the bonus, I think, of it, is that you got to get to do it. And if you are using this unit right, you want them charging multiple times a game. You're having a bad game if they're not. If they're stuck in a combat they just can't get out of, which definitely happens. That's why I normally just don't look at that one and look at the Endless Legions. But now I think it's very much a more even one.
Yeah, there's going to be certain times where you kind of look at it and go, a bit more damage would be nice, so I'll pick that one.
Their enhancements. The first one is the Grave Sand Shard. Is add 1 to the Legion roll, which we've not talked about yet, and this has had lots and lots of changes. So the ability used to be that on a 5-up you got to bring back some of your skeletons. It's now been errated to be on a 6-up. So this ability would put it back to the 5-up basically, that when you do that roll, any of your dice that are 5s, you get to bring a skeleton back.
If you're maybe picking the charge one now, you might want that one so you can bring your skeletons back.
Yeah. It does only work if your general is within 9 of the unit. So it is a little bit restrictive.
Yeah.
And it is a once per battle.
I guess maybe if you're potentially facing a fast army that you know is going to get into you comfortably, and you've just got, the skeletons of the screen, but maybe I want a little bit more. You should be able to set your general up far enough away to be out of the combat, but still within 9 to be able to do that.
Well, the funniest thing about the Legion ability is the more dead skeletons you've got, the more chance you've got of success. If you only have 1 dead skeleton, you're not going to use your once per battle because you're going to be just getting 1 back. But if you've got 1 skeleton left and you're rolling 9 dice, You would rather that be on a 5 instead of a 6. So it is a really weird one because you could be like, I'm planning to do that. Oh, they actually wiped that unit and I've not done it. So I could see games where you choose that and you either don't do it at all or you do it at a bit of an inconvenient time just to feel like you have to.
You sort of sit there and go, well, I've been sitting at 7 and 8 all game and I've not seen the thing. And then you go, and then the thing they're fighting just goes, oh, I rolled 10 6s. Oh, I rolled 10 6s. And then you roll 10 1s. And you go, oh, actually, I should have probably used it last round.
You could have the Aura of Night, which ignores negative modifiers to save rolls for shooting attacks that target your general. If you are playing it's a heavy shooting army, maybe that's your choice. If he's kind of getting the benefit of Guarded Hero, and if they've got like a big cannon or the crossbow from Crawl Boys, taking away all of that's Ren's, he's saving on a 3.
Yep.
You've got a good chance of him surviving attacks like that.
Some armies you'd never pick it because they've got no shooting or very little shooting. What's the point? But yeah, against good, strong shooting armies, that's a solid pick.
You've got your Clouded Bats. Remove your general from the battlefield and set them up again anywhere on the battlefield more than 6 inches from all enemy units. That is a once per battle, and it's in your movement phase. I do like that ability.
I mean, yeah, it's a teleport. Teleports are strong. In a relatively initially slow-moving army outside of the Knights, that could be pretty good. It could let you grab that objective to make sure you get in 3, or keep your general back a little bit and grab the back objective later. With the Vargheists coming in later, they kind of covered that a little bit.
The bit that I most like about abilities like that is you can teleport out of a combat.
Yeah.
So if you end up in a really horrible combat, you just don't want to be out, and you've taken enough damage that you're like, for a treat, I might just kill him. Teleport him away is, I think, kind of the best part of that. If that ability was, if your general's not in combat, teleport him, I think I would pick it a lot less. As it is, just teleport.
You can run away for free, basically. Yeah.
I do think that makes that ability much stronger. And the last one is the Spirit Gale. You make it, so basically it's a spell for your hero to do. You make a casting roll of 2d6. On a 7+, inflict 1 mortal damage onto each enemy unit on the battlefield. I think, depending on what you're playing, this is an extremely good choice.
Yes.
If you're playing an army that has like 6 or maybe even 7 units on the board, just 1 mortal damage onto everything is brilliant.
Especially if it's a high save, no ward army.
Yeah. You know that damage is going to get through. The 7+ for me does mar this.
Yeah.
As I have played this in games. Even though 7's statistically the most common number, I have played games chosen that and maybe got it off once or not at all, because either my general's died and I've not get to roll it 4 times in the game, or the few times I rolled it I just didn't get it. So that's my only concern with that, and I don't think I'd be choosing it against like a Giants or anything with 3 or maybe just 4 units, but anything with 5 or more, I think that is a pretty good choice.
Special note, that's very good in doubles, because you're getting double the amount of mortals.
Hopefully in the next coming days we'll have our doubles one, and we mentioned that ability because double the things on the board, every single thing, because the best thing about the ability, it's not anything within a certain distance of your general, it's just anything that is on the battlefield, it's an enemy model, is taking a mortal. I would, if we were to order them, I would put the Legion roll as last.
Yeah.
I'd kind of put the shooting roll at like a sidebar, because against some armies it literally does nothing or very little, and other armies it's probably the one that you choose. So that's, I'd still probably say it's third, but more because of, but it jumps up higher if you get a good shooting army.
It's third against a non-shooting army. Well, I suppose it's the last against a non-shooting army. But yeah, I would say, and then maybe I'd put Spirit Gale and then the teleport.
I personally, when I play, I normally do the Clouded Bats just because I just don't. I don't know what it is. I don't seem to roll enough 7-ups with Magic. It doesn't. It's one of those ones that doesn't make any sense. I'm probably right, but I feel like I don't. So I don't tend to pick. If that was a 6-up, I think I would pick that every time. Which tells me they've got a good balance of it, because I do not instantly go amazing ability, choose it. I go look at the army. That's probably what I'm going. But I think you're right. I probably would say the teleport is just pipping that one, but Not by very much.
Not by much. So moving on to the units then. We are starting with the General, the Vampire Lord. So move 6, 5 health, 2 control, and a 3+ save and a 6+ ward. So pretty standard stats wise. Obviously the 3+ save is very nice for an infantry hero. And the 6+ ward on top of that.
Notably, I've played this and got eaten by a Carnosaur. So it is not enough health that that can't happen to you, unfortunately.
But the thing is as well, you also heal. While your general maybe doesn't do a crazy amount of damage with its 5 attacks, 3s and 3s, 1 rend, 2 damage, if it only takes 2 or 3, it's probably then going to heal back up.
So, against that previous mentioned Carnosaur, the first combat we had, it didn't eat me. It then attacked me, only half killed me. I then half killed it and healed to full.
Yep.
So the end of a combat with a Carnosaur, the Carnosaur was half dead because I rolled very well and they saved pretty bad. And it kind of rolled middling and I saved enough that I was coming out the better of that. The next turn was the one it swallowed me and that was not so good for me.
Yeah, well, there's very little you could do about that, unfortunately.
But like you say, for a combat general, that healing ability, as daft as it sounds, is what makes it as good a piece as it is.
Yeah, I think obviously if it had a bit of a worse save or didn't have a ward, it would make it a lot worse. But when you think most of your good combat stuff's got to go into the Blood Knights to kill it, you're sort of going with your medium to bad combat stuff that are probably going to struggle to kill the Vampire Lord.
In one go, yeah.
Yeah, that's sort of how that kind of works. You've got a threat, and then actually your Vampire Lord, that while it's not going to go in there wiping squads, it's going to stick around and it's going to be potentially either running away, teleporting, or maybe doing mortals. Because it does also have another ability. Pick a visible enemy unit within 6 of this unit to be the target. Make a casting roll of 2d6. On a 6+, roll a number of dice equal to the health characteristic. For each 5 up, inflict 1 mortal on the target and heal 1 to this unit. Pointless against a unit of clan rats or stabbers or something like that, but against heroes that have got 5 or 6, you should be doing a couple. You know, you've got your Carnosaurs, your Giants, you're rolling quite a few, then you're healing quite a bit back as well. So, lots of abilities to heal, lots of chances. Just think, you could potentially, if you roll well, roll your 7, do all your mortals, fight a Carnosaur or the boat, and you should get 2 or 3 mortals again on that. So that's 4 mortals, and that's just in the hero phase. Obviously, you've got to be within 6, so you're probably not getting it like turn 1, unfortunately. But you've healed, you've done damage, and then you're probably going to do okay in the combat. Probably not the best, but pretty good.
Going on to your next unit, your Blood Knights. They move 10, 3 health, 3 up save, and 1 control score. If it was not for the Slaves of Darkness cavalry unit, I'd probably say these are the best in the game.
Yes.
But unfortunately, I think they get pipped by that. But they are a unit that do benefit from the healing because they're a vampire unit, which I think obviously helps them. They have 2 attacks. Their main attack, they get 3 attacks, 3s to hit, 3s to wound, 1 rend, 1 damage, but as they're a good cavalry unit, 1+ damage on the charge. And their horse's attack is a standard horse attack, which is 3 attacks, 5 to hit, 3 to wound, no rend, 1 damage, and that's a companion attack.
I think it's slightly better horses. Some horses only get 2.
Oh, okay.
You get 3. So again, I know it's a terrible attack, but you're just getting a few more of them. It's always nice.
That's the sort of attack that against the unit with a bad save actually can push it over and do the bit more, because I do feel like this is a unit you need to be getting out of the combat. You don't want it stuck in any kind of combats.
Yes.
It has an ability where models in this unit can pass across enemy infantry models as if it had fly. So because that is a passive, that is how you're able to pass over models and do that mortal damage, which unfortunately does mean that you are only doing that mortal damage to infantry.
Yeah.
So you are, maybe that's restricting when you do choose that ability. You can't, if you're playing against Suns, there's no point choosing it because you can't pass across any models.
Most army has some form of infantry.
Yeah. But then you're not really wanting them just to be running around standing base. They are to go in and smash, and they are your anvil in this army, especially before the Vargeist come in. They are the thing that you need to be going into the right thing. And like I say, I've played too many games of this army now, with and against, where the knights have gone in, kind of fluffed that role, and then have just sat in a combat slowly being whittled down, because like anything, you kill a few of them, their output's so much less, they're then not doing the damage you need them to do.
Yeah, unfortunately, what kind of lets them down a little bit is the fact they're only one rend. Surprisingly enough, that is the one difference that kind of makes them worse than the slaves cavalry, because they don't have any way to buff their rend.
Which means they get against anything with a good save, it could just bounce off on them and them not do what they need to do. They need to be doing really good damage. Having said that, I really like this unit. I think they are probably Death's best cavalry unit.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's not a massive amount between. It's not like slaves are like 10 times better. They're only a bit better. And then again, that's only because they can potentially have 3 rend hitting on 2. And there's a lot that goes into them to make them better.
And 3+ save is brilliant. So that's even if you do have a game where they do get stuck in a bit of a combat, they're not going quickly. Let's put it that way. They might not then be what you need them to be later on, but they've held something up for a while at least. Yeah.
Even if they don't destroy the unit they're going into, they should be doing that 2 or 3 to heal a little bit every now and again, just again keeping them around that a little bit longer. Moving on to the Vargeist then, so these are the units that come in the third battle round. So they move 12, 4 health, 1 control and a 5 up save. So very mobile. You get 3 of them in the unit, so a good chunk of health running around. Again, not the best in the world with a 5+ save and a 6+ ward, but not terrible. They get 3 attacks each, 4s and 3s, 1 rend, 2 damage. They are crit 2 hits, which is a nice little boost. They're never probably going to do anything crazy. They do get to add 1 to wound rolls for attacks made by this unit that target a damaged enemy, which would make them destruction at 4s and 2s.
It's really weird. You'd rather them +1 to the hits and be 3s and 3s, but that's what they've gone. I mean, the nice thing about that ability is because they're coming in late, chances are something maybe is damaged.
Yes.
So you've got a good chance of getting that ability off, which is nice, which you might not if you were going first in the game and took the first turn. You're not got shooting, so probably everything's not damaged.
You decide where they go 6 away. Obviously, your opponent can screen out in various ways, but so you can maybe go, oh, actually, that unit's a bit damaged. I might go for that because I'll do very well against them.
And the fact that it is 12-inch move that once they've been put down, even if they fail a charge, next turn they're going somewhere you need to across the board is a really, really nice.
Like I say, take that back objective, and then the following turn they're not just like, well, I guess I'll move them there 5 inches and then they'll sit doing nothing. They can either take another back objective or potentially, like I say, get into that combat. And again, they are vampires, so they get to heal, and they've got 4 health, so they can take a better advantage of it than the knights can.
Yeah, nice bit of health to heal up, and they have the potential to do that damage as well. And if you just get a load of crit 2 hits, you can really pop off and do a lot, really, with 2 damage.
Yeah, you could do 36 on a max roll.
Robin Maths. Your last unit is your Death Rattle Skeletons, so you get 2 units of 10 of these. They move 4, so they are the slowest thing in your army by quite some way. 1 health each, 5 up save, and 1 control score. So, can take a hit from maybe things with not a lot of rem, but other than that, they're not lasting very long. But that's kind of what they are. Their attacks, they get 2 attacks each, so full squad would get 20. 4s to hit, 4s to wound, no rend, 1 damage. And obviously these are skeletons, not vampires, so they can't do any kind of healing abilities.
Yeah, I mean they're 1 health anyway, so that doesn't.
Their only kind of healing ability, as we have said, has been changed twice. Originally, the Skeleton Legion was for each slain model from this unit, make a Legion roll of d6. For each 5 up, return 1 model to this unit. That used to be any combat phase, so you do it 8 times a game and with both units. Now it is only your combat phase.
Yeah.
Making it a lot worse. And it is now on a 6 instead of a 5.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a fairly good ability. It's one of those ones of Would you rather have that and just have them have no ability but they be reinforced?
Yeah.
Yes.
I would just rather them be reinforced. But as I said, we do think this is a very good army anyway, so maybe that would just push them too good.
Well, yeah, I say these are one of the first armies I faced in Spearhead, and I played with my Unestra, and I got absolutely battered.
Yeah. Probably before any of those changes
Yeah,
happened.
before any of those changes, they absolutely battered me.
It's another reason why I think you want to go second, because if you're only doing that ability on your combat phase, if they've... So let's say you went first, you move them up the board like you're probably going to do. Something's gone in, has killed a few. It is then... you can't do it because it's a combat ability till your turn.
You've got to do it at the start of your turn.
Start of your combat phase, so it is then their turn. So you've not been able to do it then, so you're having to wait for another turn for it to be yours. If they've gone first and they've moved up and they've fought you, then you're able to do it straight away on your turn to bring some models back.
Yes. Just got to hope they don't wipe the unit.
I just got to hope they don't wipe the unit.
Which, again...
10 health, 5 up save, some things can definitely do it, but other things can't. And at the end of the day, they've gone into your skeletons.
Yeah.
Which means your Blood Knights, they've not. Your Vampire Lord, they've not.
Yeah.
So hopefully they can then come in and mop up what... Maybe not what's left, because your skeletons maybe not done a lot to them, but what is there that's important that needs killing. I do feel like I went on a learning curve with this army. Don't just charge your knights in because you can. My opinion now is you move the skeletons up to a bit like worse versions of clan rats, that they hold something up for not as long as a clan rat would, unfortunately, with bringing them back. But they go up and hold things up, and then your knights go round the board in the order of what needs killing first. I hope you don't fluff your rolls and you get out of combat. And then your general either sits back and does that spell to do a mortal every single time, or he's your thing that teleports round and causes a menace places, and then maybe helps the skeleton unit with a combat that you know that he can't die in, and hopefully just keeps healing.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I've been playing the army. And then your Vargas come in where you need them to and help somewhere.
Yeah. Like I said, I think the Vargas are very good because they can fill two roles.
Yes.
They can be you run around and do stuff at the end, or they can be the support if maybe the Blood Knights need something to help them get out of combat.
Yeah. And I do think these, obviously, like we said, we've had quite a few erratas. I do think they probably needed those erratas.
I don't know. I feel like maybe your combat phase was enough. But the fact they've done it, I think they went too heavy with that, especially with then affecting the Endless Legion ability as well. I think just the combat phase and changing it to a 6 and leaving the Endless Legion would have been fine. Because, as we've always said, we think that overall the April update was good for Spearhead because it balanced everything out nicely. Ones that needed help got some help. Ones that were a bit too strong got a bit of a debuff. But I also you do have to look at it from... We've got a very unique perspective in the fact of we literally have 97% of all the Spearheads. I think we're missing all but two.
Yeah.
So if that one gets nerfed to oblivion, we go, oh, all right, well, I'll play my other 36. It doesn't matter. But if this is your one, it could be upsetting to be like, I've had a really good one. It's not super crazy. It's just consistent.
I think it'll only harm you against the very top armies. The other ones are still good enough. You don't need that ability to help you win.
It's still a good one. But
It's my feeling.
I'm looking at it from the point of view as the 8-year-old who's spent his pocket money to get his favourite little vampire army, and then all of a sudden Games Workshop have just gone, no.
Well, in that case, that child gets way too much pocket money. That'd have been years for me saving up for
but that was 20 years ago.
I know,
as we look, minimum wage is £8 an hour now.
It would have still been years, even with the old prices. I got £5 a month. So what's that? A year I'm getting £60. They're probably around that. So I'm waiting a year for this.
Yeah, well.
But and they nerfed.
And then they can nerf it, exactly. How upset would you be?
It's fine, they nerfed it between that time. So as a whole, I really rate this army highly. really enjoy playing it. Apart from the first few times, I've not had many negative experiences with it. They are a fairly consistent army, and when you kind of figure out what needs to do what, is a really nice play. Again, it does always feel weird doing a death army where there isn't a lot of things coming back, but then I do think maybe that would have been too good if a lot of it did. If the skeletons were reinforced, for example, I think maybe that would make this army too good. So our rating for the painting, gluing, aesthetics, I did glue and paint this spearhead. It's been a while, but I can't remember any of it being too painful. So I don't think putting it together was too bad. The knights were probably a little fiddly because there's a bit more to them. And then they are a bit awkward to paint if you have glued them and then try and paint them because of some of the parts of them. But in general, I really enjoyed painting them. They are a few colours if you want them to be. I didn't like how red the bloodlights are, so I made mine a little bit darker red than kind of.
Yeah, but that's always aesthetic, isn't it? You can do neon pink and yellow if you want. It's not a.
I really enjoyed painting the Vargai, so I really enjoyed doing their wings.
Yeah, they're really quick and easy.
I ended up like blending like 6 colours to kind of have like a lighter colour at the end and a darker on the wings.
When we didn't have to paint a spearhead every week.
Yes, exactly. When I could actually enjoy painting rather than just like, we've got to get this out. So for painting and gluing, I'm putting this pretty high. The general's not a very big model, but he's a really nice looking model. And
yeah,
the
it's got a little bit of aura to it.
And the knights stand out. And the skeletons, although they're skeletons, I think they've got a bit more personality than the Bone Reaper ones.
Yeah, because they're sort of like, they're not just like skeletons, they're like clunky, held together skeletons.
Yeah.
Like, they kind of have a bit of charm to them a little bit.
Yeah.
And they're like cobbled together, so they're all slightly different, which I like. Whereas obviously the other ones are just skeleton to spear, skeleton to spear, skeleton to spear.
And I probably say this to death, but it fills one of my ticks where it's on the board and it's got a bit of everything on the board. So it's not just an army of infantry. It is, you've got your infantry, your cavalry, your special little thing, your hero that when you look at closely looks pretty cool with the bats flowing around the hair. So for me, because of all of those things being put together, I'm feeling like a 4.5.
See, I was going to say 4.5 as well, just for the simple fact of, while the knights are obviously a pretty big unit, they don't have like a big.
Yeah.
They don't have a Carnosaur, an Astra.
Yeah.
Maybe the only other thing is obviously it is 20 skeletons, 5 knights, 3 Vargos, and a general.
But you've saved up your child who saved up the whole year to buy this. He's got to have something to do for a while. He can't be like, I got giants, I did my 3 models, I'm done.
Yeah, but I'm the guy who's got 39 spearheads that needs to be painted and out next week.
Yeah, fair enough.
But but again, that's a very minimum. So I would also say a 4.5. That's if I was to say that's the only 2 things.
Yeah, I agree. It does not have that one standout piece that a 5's got to have, in my opinion.
Why the general is cool. If you just kind of have him sort of stood next to all the skeletons, kind of blends up a little.
Nah, he's the good one where you go, oh, look at those cool knights, look at those cool Vargas, and then you pick up the general and you go, oh, he looks cool. That's the best part, when you like have to look closer and then you realise how cool the model is.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going 4.5.
We'll go 4.5, yeah.
For the playability, competitiveness, fun. Again, I want to put this pretty high because I do really enjoy playing them. I think they are a very competitive army. I've played it against it a few times and I don't know if my opponents had a lot of fun, because basically what happened was I locked up the knights and sent pointless things in repeatedly, so they, unfortunately for them, they put in the middle of the board and did a charge and failed to charge. And then I just literally went, this unit goes up and clogs you up for a while. You killed them in 2 turns. This unit does that.
Yeah.
And then they're reinforced units, so they're just coming back. The skeletons then didn't do any damage, so whatever I threw at them, it didn't really matter. And then the general was the one thing I had to look out for. I was just like, right, something's got to kill that general before it does something nasty to me.
And like you say, as much as we go on about like the general being like super, super tanky and really good, at the end of the day, it is only 5 health.
Yeah.
You can just have your opponent rolls well and you roll bad in a combat. And unfortunately, that is you done. But that is the case for a lot of generals, to be fair.
But that is a general where you send something in with a good enough save with only 1 rend and no way of doing mortals.
Yes.
that it does mean that he's going to struggle to
getting
survive
the
a few
damage.
combat rounds of that and
Yeah.
get the healing that you kind of need to do. And then you just, if that, if the ideals kind of happen to you against them, you're going, right, well, Vargeist, they're going to be screened out, or they're going to come in this tiny bit here where they're not going to cause a lot of damage to me. So I definitely think you can have a bad game with this army.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But in general, if you do what the army has the potential to do, I think you will have a very good game with this army.
I am going to say a 4.
Ooh, see, I wanted to say another
if-
4.5.
If it wasn't for the fact of the skeletons having all the debuffs, I'd have gone for a 4.5, maybe even a 5, with them going anywhere.
Yes, I think that has been the thing that's nerfed that ability more than the lack of models back. The fact it's not anywhere, because most of the time when I did that, it was just they're on that objective.
Yeah, like you say, one coming back anywhere is probably better than 6 or 7 coming back in your territory.
Yeah. And I mean, I think I've had a game where I bought the Vargai sim, brought my general back on Sand and Bone, and I bought the Scatters back. So I went from having like 2 units on the battlefield to having 5 units on the battlefield. So unfortunately, I do think that the nerfing of where they go is a bigger blow than the number.
You've got more experience, so I'm happy to go with 4.5. I'm just like you say, I think they might struggle a little bit against a better saving army that can do damage back.
But they are a good saving army themselves.
True.
The general and the knights are 3 ups. I know the skeletons are only a 5.
And then I suppose if you pick to be able to do mortals quite effectively, most good saving armies don't typically have good mortal capability.
And if you are playing against an army with one big thing with lots of health, that spell can be devastating.
Go 4.5 then.
Well, 2 4.5s.
Yeah, almost a perfect army apparently.
And again, I think I definitely wouldn't be in a conversation with it being a 5.
Yeah, unfortunately.
For either of the two things, unfortunately.
Previously, I would have given it a 5 with all of its abilities, but now it's been nerfed down a bit.
But yeah, I wouldn't want to be dropping it. Definitely below a 4, but if you're happy with that, we'll go with a 4.5.
We'll go with 4.5. Like saying is that you're the more experienced player with it. I've only ever played against it.
Thank you everyone for listening to today's show. If you are watching on YouTube, you can leave a comment about your experience with the army, or maybe which one you would like us to review next on the pod. If you're listening on podcasts from any of the various podcasting places, you can email us at alloutageofsigma@gmail.com. Outro.
Come on, Duncan, you were a big Twilight fan. You should have all the vampire
I
facts.
hate Twilight. Okay, here's my outro. Can you name 3 good vampire movies or films? Daybreakers was good.
Daybreakers were good, but do they ever actually call them vampires?
I mean, they basically are. They can't go out in sunlight.
Yeah,
and
but
they drink blood. I don't know how you could not be a vampire with that.
As much as it got pretty panned, I actually really like Van Helsing with
Hugh Jackman. I like Van Helsing.
But again, I think we were the right age.
Yeah, I think we were.
I think if we went back, if it came out like today,